Good day, everyone. I am John Kenneth Reyes, a third year student taking Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, currently studying at Colegio De Muntinlupa, presenting to you my on the job training journey. In our school, the on the job training course is part of our curriculum where we should have to take it and finish it within 300 hours as part of its requirements. Our school has provided a list of companies that already have memorandum of agreement. Together with my co-trainees, we tried to apply to all the companies whose offices are almost within Philinvest in Alabang. And one of them is KME Design and Construction, where I was hired and did my OJT experiences. So what is KME Design and Construction? KME Design and Construction is a construction company located in Entrata Urban Complex, Philinvest Corporate City, Muntinlupa City. The company has been accredited by the Philippine Construction Accreditation Board or PCAB since January 1, 2009, has been registered with the Bureau of Internal Revenue or BIR since January 17, 2005, Department of Budget and Management or DBM since September 8, 2009, and Department of Labor and Employment or DOLE since May 21, 2012. KME Design and Construction caters to government and private projects in the NCR and parts of Region 1, 3, and 4. KME Design and Construction was founded November 16, 2007, headed by Engineer Rodante Corpus, a registered and licensed civil engineer by profession, and the company's general manager and president. The president and his wife, Engineer Estradita C. Corpus, the executive assistant, run this company as a family business, along with his son, Mr. Patrick C. Corpus, the general services manager, and his daughters, Architect Monique C. Corpus, the planning and design manager, and Engineer Angelique C. Corpus, operation manager. Furthermore, the acronym KME was created by combining the initial and final letters of the president's daughter and son's names. As the business expands, a number of engineers and employees adhere to the competencies and goals of the business. The overriding goal or mission is to create infrastructures that are structurally sound, built with superior materials and exceptional workmanship, and adheres to the national standards being implemented, and therefore provide comfort, peace of mind, stability, and sustainability to the owners or end users. While their vision is aspiring to be one of the leading constructors in the Philippine construction industry, KME Design and Construction is not only a builder, it is also an active partner in nation building through quality infrastructures that meet the client's satisfaction, adhere to the national standards, and have significant impact to the society. KME should be synonymous to excellence in service, performance, and accomplishments. KME has developed 8 core values that guide and influences the daily company operation, including honesty and integrity, professionalism and competence, accountability, safety, teamwork, quality and attention to details, adaptability, and continuous improvement. KME has demonstrated its progressiveness during its 17 years in business by successfully building a number of projects and constructions. Some of KME's projects are located in Muntinlupa City, such as Alabang Public Market, Alabang Viaduct, and Balay Muntinlupa. Most of their projects are residential houses, daycare centers, health centers, school buildings, public markets, and pavilions. My OJT experience was mainly held on the 10-story Dr. Philemon C. Aguilar Memorial College of Las Piñas or DFCAM CLP school buildings construction site where me and my co-trainees are the one who performed the BOM estimation, site visits, and inspections. The mentioned construction site is an engineering and architectural school building and a project of Las Piñas LGU located at Barangay Talondos, Las Piñas City. Now, let's proceed with our OJT activities. During on our interview and orientation, we were able to visit the KME Design and Construction office in Entrata, Muntinlupa City. The interview was conducted with Miss Denise Joy Nicolas, the HR manager of the company. She oriented us of some possible activities we may encounter during our training. During our orientation, Miss Nicolas separated us into two, wherein me and Mr. Deang were assigned on site, while Miss Kilas and Miss Estrella were assigned in office. In the site, we had site visits and inspections on the ongoing construction of Dr. Philemon C. Aguilar Memorial College of Las Piñas or DFCAM CLP School Building, Young Achievers International School or YAIS Extension, and the Sena Residential House, where we observed, explored, and even measured the actual structural members of the structure for checking, and we were able to use it for our estimates. Also, we were tasked to do structural and architectural estimates about the ongoing construction of DFCAM and YAIS. Along with our junior civil engineer supervisor, Engineer Philip Angeles, and the company's planning and design manager and operation manager, Architect Monique C. Corpus and Engineer Angelique C. Corpus, we had discussed and emphasized our works on Bill of Materials or BOM and Bill of Quantities or BOQ estimates of the aforementioned ongoing projects. During our first day of site visit, we, the trainees, had observations and discussions with our supervisor, Engineer Philip Angeles, about the parts and aspects of the construction site. In the following days, we continued to visit and inspect the site for our estimate as well. We measured first the dimensions of structural components for our assessment, including the shear wall of the building's elevator on the third floor as well as beams, columns, and slabs. Engineer Gabriel Reynante, one of the company's employees, gave us a task of identifying three possible errors that seemed to be present in the structural arrangement in the site. We also had discussions focusing on the diameters, lengths, and spacings of the electrical lines and rebars. We had a task of inspecting the formwork within the columns and beams, looking for any impermissible openings that seemed present and may affect the workability of the concrete pouring process. So he explained to us the importance of ensuring the formwork was properly sealed to prevent damage between the concrete pouring process and the formworks. On the scheduled day of the concrete pouring process on the third floor, Engineer Philip invited us to observe and look at how this process happened. So a concrete boom pump was used to easily carry out the ready mix concrete through the third floor. So after the concrete pouring process for slabs, we observed the workers and engineers that are working with columns by putting MS plates and stirrups. We saw the workers and engineers checking and aligning the columns as a preparation for the concrete pouring process. Additionally, we also tackled some about the bars on the third floor. So, on the same day, we had a site visit to Yais site, DFCOM 4th floor, and then Tulsena residential construction site. We observed and looked around the site and had a discussion regarding the works and progress on both locations. On the DFCOM CLP 4th floor site, we were tasked to do inspections with all beams and girders through checking its horizontal bars from left support, mid spans, and right supports. Me and Miss Kilas were checking the horizontal bars on each beam and girder. We observed some of the beams and girders having either an excess or less number of horizontal bars on both left support, right support, and mid span. As per Engineer Philip, we learned that having some excess was acceptable to prevent cutting and becoming waste so it continued to the other beam or girder. After checking with horizontal bars, Engineer Ruby Ann gave us a task of checking distances between two columns using a long tape. Along with Miss Kilas and Miss Tolosa, our measurements seemed precise as we checked the fourth floor framing plan for reference. Engineer Ruby Ann gave us an idea about the location of the splices within the beam. The splice location at the midspan makes the beam less susceptible in stresses and failure where there's a lower bending moment at the middle. So with Engineer Philip, Engineer Gab, Engineer Rubian, and Engineer Ronald, the trainees had a site visit on DFCAM, fourth floor, and discussed phenolic boards used in formworks. So we tackled its characteristics and different types used in constructions. So afterwards, Engineer Gab taught us on checking for plumbing. We learned how PVC or polyvinyl chloride and PPR or polypropylene random copolymer pipes works. For PVC, it is for sievages, downspouts for rainwater, and PPR for clean water with two types, for hot and cold water, commonly used in showers. So we observed the pipes located in the female and male comfort rooms, where we determined the different sizes of pipes used for toilets, urinals, and sinks. We were taught to read electrical layouts by Engineer Rubian, including electrical symbols, uses of one-way and two-way switches, and electrical conduits. Additionally, they taught us some words commonly used in construction, including bistayan or sunscreen, squala or scale, puto or spacer, hulog or plumb bob, and palaman or mortar. Aside from the site visits and inspections, we also did BOM and BOQ estimations. Engineer Philip gave us a task on estimates. It includes the number of stirrups needed for the ground floor and the second floor, using the ground floor and second floor framing plans. We manually estimate the total volume of concrete needed in the third floor. We measured first the dimensions of structural components for our assessments, including the shear wall of the building's elevator on the third floor, as well as beams, columns, and slabs. Additionally, we estimated the number of CHB on the embankment on the ground floor. We also tried to estimate the electrical layout on the ground floor, including lighting, outlets, and hoses. Miss Queenie Cursega, company's employee, assigned the trainees to do architectural finishes from ground floor to 10th floor, where me and Mr. Deang were assigned the first, second, fifth, seventh, and ninth floor plans, while Miss Estrella and Miss Kilas were assigned the third, fourth, sixth, eighth, and 10th floor plans to do estimation. Engineer Gav gave us a task to do estimation, including CHB, architectural, finishes, concreting, and rebars of the Baknotan Public Market's fourth floor plan. He also helped us with our slab estimation using his Excel where we efficiently estimated the number and needed diameter of the bars. We applied their advices and corrections on our estimates and tried to compare our work with their engineers' work to check the precision based on the result they had calculated. Then Engineer Philip gave us a task to do estimation with earthworks, including excavation, backfilling, and rebars from the YAIS plants. We had a comprehensive discussion with Engineer Philip to do rebar estimation, including the appropriate ways of counting the needed pieces of bars specifically for footings and columns. From that, we got to do calculations for better and precise results of estimates. We continued working the estimation on rebars, where we also discussed some revisions needed on our estimates. So he corrected us and taught us the proper way of estimating rebars. And one of the learning from them was doing cutting lists, which were applicable to determine the appropriate commercial length to be used for specific structural elements. After completing the previous estimates, before me and Mr. Diang, who were assigned to do structural estimates, and the other two were assigned to do architectural estimates, Engineer Philip exchanged the assignment for us to re-estimate architectural finishes and concreting, and for the other two to re-estimate structural plans. So as per Engineer Philip, it was for us to try, practice, and recheck the calculations resulting from my colleagues' work. We had some discussions with Engineer Philip and colleagues to check the estimates being made. Still, we encountered revisions as we were checking and re-estimating their works. Unexpectedly, from our work with Yai's plans, the engineers told us to report our BOM and BOQ estimations with the bosses, with Engineer Apple and Architect Momo. We were sent to DFCAM CLP to have a meeting with engineers and architect and had a discussion to expedite structural and architectural estimates with Engineer Apple and Architect Momo. They gave us with advice and recommendations for us to revise our estimates for precision. Me and Mr. Diang discussed the architectural estimates while Miss Estrella and Miss Kilas discussed the structural estimates. The engineers gave recommendations for us to finalize our estimates. So on the next report presentation, we discuss our final BOM of Yai's estimates with Engineer Apple. So she gave emphasis on our architectural finishes for painting where she told us to include consumables on our estimates, and she added the importance of including mobilization, demobilization, and labor on estimation, as it is also includes cost for the whole budget of the project. Also, we had some significant discussions by introducing software like SketchUp and Twinmotion. So Sir CJ assigned us to uh, a task of creating an orthographic design of the structural subject using his SketchUp design. Then he gave us a task to practice our SketchUp skills. He provided his sketch of scaffolding of the structure. Then we created the 3D model of it through SketchUp. So Miss Christine Salamat, a company's part-time employee, taught and showed us how rendering works. So she used the Twinmotion software and directed us to show some basic steps to make it work. Lastly, we were given a task to seal architectural and plumbing plans of Yais, tasked by Engineer Quilly. We divided our labor where the two of us sealed the plans while the rest sorted the plans accordingly. We also observed the detailed presentation of architectural and plumbing plans so that we understood better how to read them. So now, let's discuss the engineering problem I encountered during my OJT. So for introduction, KME Design and Construction leads the ongoing construction of DFCOM CLP, Yais Extension, Bacnotan Public Market, and Lucena Residential House during my internship in this company. So as a contractor company, KME provides construction or renovation services. It manages the construction projects, including residential and commercial work. So it is often work closely with architects, engineers, and designers to ensure that projects are executed according to plans and standards. As part of my internship, we were sent to DFCAM to explore, observe, and experience my training within the site. So during my internship, I observed how smooth the execution was between the ordering of materials such as RMC and their arrival at the site. But in the time of concrete pouring process on the fourth floor slab, there was a time of disruption due to the heavy rain caused by the typhoon. There was rescheduling that happened to avoid impacting the quality of the concrete. So these are the objectives of the study. First is to identify the effective response to the impact of adverse weather conditions on construction project timelines within the DFCAM CLP site. And second is to minimize delays and associated cost, enhance safety and quality, and improve overall project management practices. So, this is the significance of the study. The importance of studying weather related delays is to give the company good insights about enhancement in project management efficiency and ensuring safety and quality in engineering projects. By identifying and mitigating the impact of adverse weather conditions, KME can improve planning accuracy, manage risk effectively, and maintain high standards of safety and quality, leading to more successful project outcomes and to maintain good communication with the client. So, proceeding to discussion on the engineering problem. So, July 22, 2024 was supposed to be the schedule of concrete pouring on the FCAM CLP 4th floor slab. The concrete pump and the ready mix concrete or the RMC were also ready that day. Unexpectedly, the rain continued due to the typhoon, so instead of continuing, the process was immobilized and rescheduled for next Monday, which is July 29, 2024. The company saw the appropriateness of that day to continue the concrete pouring process. This is also the situation with Jai's extension where there was a delay in finishing it on time. According to its engineers, it is necessary to extend the construction days because one of the reasons for this is the possible storms that will affect the workers and the construction materials. So these are the possible solutions to the engineering problem. So KME can better mitigate the engineering challenges posed by weather-related delays and minimize their impact on project outcomes through improving or applying the following possible solutions. First is weather monitoring and forecasting. For the preparation of weather events, develop comprehensive plans based on weather forecasts to minimize the impact of unexpected weather. Second is flexible scheduling. Develop flexible work sequences that can adapt to changing weather conditions through adjusting work sequences accordingly. Third is material and equipment management. Protecting the materials and equipment by using weather resistant coverings and proper storage methods from adverse weather conditions to ensure the construction materials and equipment are maintained to operate in different weather conditions. Fourth is enhanced safety. Measures enforce safety protocols for working in adverse weather conditions to protect workers. The company could improve on providing training on safety practices and procedures for working in challenging weather conditions. And lastly is effective communication. Having collaborative planning with client and suppliers to coordinate responses from the possible effects of weather-related challenges in terms of timeline. So, for conclusion, weather-related delays can happen anytime and it is part of managing operations across the construction site. But their negative impact can be significantly reduced with proper methods that can be applied. So, by improving communication, enhancing safety protocols, managing the materials and equipment, monitoring weather and forecasting, and incorporating flexibility into planning and operations, the company can minimize disruptions and maintain its quality and efficiency despite adverse weather conditions. Now let's proceed on my technical skills and soft skills learned. So one of my works was to do estimation. Doing estimates is one of the significant part on determining the BOM and BOQ of the structure, where according to my supervisor and other engineers on the site, estimates is not necessary to be accurate perfectly. It is needed to be precise through determining the number of materials and cost of a construction project. It also serves as an assistance in determining the scope of the project. On my day one of the training, my supervisor gave us a task to estimate the bars needed for stirrups in DFCOM CLP third floor. At first, I was doubtful since my knowledge about estimation was enough based on the approach from the quantity surveying course in school. And that was my first time to do estimation within the actual site. As a result, I was successful based on the feedback of my supervisor. Afterwards, as I continued estimating other structural and architectural aspects of other companies' ongoing projects, I continued the improvement of my estimation skills. It was also observed the difference of my gaining knowledge in construction management between learning from school and learning from the actual site. As we did estimation, we used spreadsheet or Excel for convenience of calculating needed measurements, including the volume, area, and perimeter of different parts of the structure and construction. So we learned how to create formulas to compute for total automatically and in faster way. Along with this, we use AutoCAD software where most of the needed information for our estimation was from the structural and architectural plans from AutoCAD in the WG file for an easy access. Before, on our quantity surveying, we manually calculated our estimation that took a lot of time, but its concept of estimation was still used on how we did our estimation on the actual site with the use of spreadsheet or Excel and AutoCAD software. My soft skills were developed during my training both in office and on site. My verbal communication skill was my top skill I developed and improved as I worked with new environment, new people, and new place. So having these skills should be applied in working place since it was a medium between the trainee, supervisor, and other engineers working on the site to share ideas, ask questions, and to understand every detail what their supervisor taught and discussed to us. I also developed my adaptability skill whenever my supervisor and other engineers in the site and office gave me different tasks. I was willing to learn and do our different tasks, which I successfully achieved the objectives that my supervisor expected me to do in terms of estimation, observation on the site, and also working approach with other workers and employees. Another one was teamwork, where I was capable of sharing ideas and helping my colleagues to do our task properly. My recommendation for KME is to maintain its quality, good treatment, and good environment for workers and future OJTs when it comes to BOM, BOQ, and site inspections activities. Additionally, they should continue shaping students like me from teachings, advices, and guidance in work in terms of their uh, technical and soft skills. I get a lot of knowledge from the progressive nature of the company when it comes to construction works. And that would be all. Again, I am John Kenneth Reyes, and this is my on the job training journey. Thank you for watching and listening.